They were worlds apart, a rising football star and a baseball icon battling a deadly disease. But an unbelievable twist of fate and a single selfless act would connect their lives in a way no one could have imagined. From the moment Conrad Royland could walk, he seemed to be in perpetual motion. By 4, that energy found its focus in sports. Baseball, basketball, soccer, tennis, it didn't matter. He poured his heart into each one. It wasn't just playing, it was living. You could see in the way he'd spend hours in the backyard, a small, determined figure mimicking the swings of his favorite baseball players, narrating his own imaginary games. Bottom of the 9th, 2 outs. Royland at the plate. He'd dive for imaginary balls, slide into imaginary bases, the dust and grass stains on his clothes testament to his unwavering commitment. His parents, Ralph and Mary, fostered this passion. They weren't pushy stage parents, but they provided the space, the equipment, and the unwavering encouragement. They saw the spark in him, the inherent goodness, the quiet generosity that would later define him. There was the time he gave his best baseball glove to a kid who couldn't afford one, or the way he always included everyone in his games, regardless of skill level. These small acts, seemingly insignificant at the time, hinted at the profound decision he would make years later. The day Rod Carew, the 7-time batting champion, visited Mill Creek Elementary was electric. The air crackled with anticipation. For 11-year-old Conrad, it was more than just a celebrity visit. It was a pilgrimage. Carew, with his easy smile and gentle demeanor, commanded the room. He spoke about dedication, perseverance, and the importance of believing in yourself, even when faced with seemingly insurmountable odds. His words resonated deeply with Conrad, who listened with rapt attention, his eyes fixed on his hero. After the talk, a select few students, Conrad among them, were chosen to meet Carew personally. The line moved slowly, each second an eternity for the young boy. Finally, it was his turn. He held out his well-worn baseball, his hand trembling slightly. Carew took it, his eyes crinkling at the corners as he signed his name with a flourish. "What's your name, son?" he asked. "Conrad, sir," he replied, his voice barely a whisper. "Keep working hard, Conrad," Carew said, placing a hand on his shoulder. "You got a good swing." That single moment, that brief exchange, solidified Conrad's dream. He went home that day, the signed baseball clutched tightly in his hand, and practiced until the sun dipped below the horizon, fueled by a newfound intensity. Carew's words echoed in his mind. Keep working hard. And he did. High school was Conrad's proving ground. He wasn't just good. He was exceptional. On the basketball court, he was a force to be reckoned with, his agility and court vision making him a standout point guard. But it was on the football field where he truly shone. As a tight end, he possessed a rare combination of size, speed, and sure hands. Friday Night Lights became synonymous with Conrad Royland making spectacular catches, breaking tackles, and leading his team to victory. The roar of the crowd, the camaraderie with his teammates, the thrill of competition, it was intoxicating. College scouts lined the sidelines, their notebooks filled with glowing reports. The local newspaper dubbed him the Royland Rocket, and the pressure mounted. He thrived under it, relishing the challenge, always pushing himself to be better, faster, stronger. He wasn't just playing for himself. He was playing for his team, his town, his family. The transition to college football was a steep learning curve. At Notre Dame and then Stanford, Conrad faced a level of competition he'd never encountered before. The practices were grueling, the playbook complex, the pressure relentless. He struggled at times, but his inherent determination saw him through. He learned, he adapted, he persevered. He also made sure to attend all his classes, understanding that even with the dream, there was more to life. Being drafted by the New York Jets was the culmination of years of sacrifice and hard work. It was a dream come true, a validation of all those hours spent practicing, all those setbacks overcome. He moved across the country, immersed himself in the world of professional football, the intensity and excitement palpable. He felt invincible, ready to conquer the world. Then, during a routine practice in 2013, it happened. A sharp, searing pain in his knee as he planted his foot to make a cut. He crumpled to the ground, the world around him fading into a blur. The diagnosis was swift and brutal. A torn ACL, a career-threatening injury. The surgery, the rehab, the grueling physical therapy, it was a test of his will, his spirit. He fought back, determined to return to the field, but the knee never fully recovered. The dream, once so vivid, so attainable, slipped away. He felt lost, adrift, his identity as an athlete shattered. Returning to California in 2016, Conrad felt like a stranger in a familiar land. The beaches, the sunshine, the familiar sights, they offered little solace. He tried to find a new path, exploring a career in real estate, but it felt hollow, lacking the passion and purpose he'd found on the field. He was searching for something more, something meaningful. The day he went to renew his driver's license was unremarkable, a mundane task in the midst of a life in transition. He filled out the forms, answered the questions, and then came to the section on organ donation. He paused, pen hovering over the checkbox. He thought about life, about its fragility, about the possibility of giving someone else a second chance. He remembered a news story he'd seen years ago about a young girl who received a life-saving heart transplant. He thought about his own mortality, about the legacy he wanted to leave behind. Without hesitation, he checked the box. It was a simple act, a small gesture, but it would prove to be the most significant decision of his life. 2 days after Thanksgiving, 2016, Conrad was at his local gym, pushing himself through a rigorous workout. He was determined to stay in shape, to maintain some semblance of the athleticism that had defined him for so long. As he lifted weights, a sudden, excruciating pain exploded in his head. It was unlike anything he'd ever experienced, a blinding, throbbing agony. He dropped the weights, clutching his head, his vision blurring. He knew, instinctively, that something was terribly wrong. He managed to call his father, Ralph, a physician, his voice strained with pain and fear. Ralph's voice on the other end of the line was calm but urgent. He recognized the symptoms immediately, his heart sinking with dread. He instructed Conrad to stay put, that he was on his way. The diagnosis was swift and devastating. A brain aneurysm, a life-threatening bulge in a blood vessel. The 17-hour surgery was a desperate attempt to save his life, a roller coaster of hope and despair for his family. Mary and Ralph Royland sat by their son's bedside, their hands clasped tightly, their hearts breaking. The machines beeped rhythmically, a stark reminder of the fragility of life. The doctors had done everything they could, but Conrad never regained consciousness. He was declared brain dead on December 12, 2016. Their vibrant, energetic, generous son was gone. They whispered their final goodbyes, their tears falling onto his still form, their love a silent testament to the beautiful life he had lived. Rod Carew, the Hall of Fame baseball player, had always been the picture of health. But in September 2015, his life took a dramatic turn. A massive heart attack struck him without warning, leaving him gasping for breath, his chest constricted in a vice-like grip. His wife, Rhonda, acted quickly, calling 911, her voice trembling with fear. The paramedics arrived, their sirens screaming through the night, a race against time. He was rushed to the hospital, where doctors worked frantically to stabilize him. He survived, but his heart was severely damaged, his future uncertain. The once vibrant athlete was now frail, his every breath a struggle. The only hope for Rod was a heart transplant. He was placed on the waiting list, a long and agonizing process filled with uncertainty. Every phone call, every doctor's appointment, was a mixture of hope and dread. Will a heart become available in time? Would his body accept it? Rhonda was his rock, his constant companion, her unwavering support a source of strength. They faced the unknown together, their love a beacon in the darkness, their bond stronger than ever. The waiting was the hardest part, the constant reminder of his mortality. The call came on a seemingly ordinary day. Rod and Rhonda were returning from a doctor's appointment, the mood somber. Then the phone rang. Rhonda answered, her hand shaking. It was a transplant coordinator. A matching heart had been found. The words hung in the air, unbelievable, miraculous. Tears streamed down Rhonda's face, a mixture of joy, relief, and disbelief. Rod, his voice weak but filled with emotion, asked, "Are you sure?" The coordinator confirmed it. A compatible heart was available, a second chance at life. The news was overwhelming, a wave of emotion washing over them. They had prayed for this moment, dared to hope for it, and now it was finally here. Rod lay on the operating table, his life in the hands of the surgeons. He thought about his family, about the chance to see his grandchildren grow up, about the opportunity to live a full life again. He was filled with gratitude, a profound sense of appreciation for the unknown donor who had given him this precious gift. As Rod recovered, a nagging question began to surface. Who was the donor? The Carews and the Roylands, through separate channels, started to piece together the clues. The age, the location, the timing, it all pointed to a heartbreaking possibility. Mary Royland, driven by a mother's intuition, contacted the organ donation agency. The confirmation was swift and emotional. The heart beating in Rod Carew's chest belonged to her son, Conrad. The realization was overwhelming, a mixture of grief and gratitude, of sadness and wonder.